Hello, I'm Ian Poyner, and today I'll be talking about enemy at both sides of the gate, about the certified scheme that we will be launching for routers and gateways. So my agendas always start with the why, and then we'll go into the where, what, how, who, and when. The quote, "The network is hostile," is from the UK National Cyber Security Centre's own zero trust design principles of don't trust any network, including your own. Whether operating in a commercial, public, or simply in the home environment, our networks are getting ever more complex. They're also getting a lot more heterogeneous. For example, in an office or manufacturing plant, third-party service providers such as HVAC or lift operators may connect their systems to networks of opportunity, such as internal LANs or guest networks. For example, a lift may be connected to the internal LAN for energy monitoring and traffic flow, but may also have a SIM card to call out repair engineers in case of a breakdown or a fault. The building owner may not even be aware of all the devices connected to their networks, and also what other unregistered connections to other systems may exist. The point is, keeping control of what is connected to your internal LAN is getting harder. It is no longer simply auditing the PCs and printers on the inside of your LAN perimeter firewall. In the home, traditional IT traffic, such as online banking and email, may share the network with cheap and insecure IoT gadgets, and also at the other extreme, critical systems such as door locks and internal CCTV cameras. In both the enterprise and the home, the internal network will host numerous devices with greatly different levels of trustworthiness and capabilities to defend themselves. So why are we looking at the gateway? And by the gateway, I include the routers. It's not perfect, but the router or gateway still represents one of the best points to defend the traffic flows on your network. But we also recognize that there are side gates that could compromise that, such as Bluetooth, LoRa, Matter, GSM, and even the Wi-Fi. Many of you will have already seen Nick Allard's talks from last year's conference or this conference on the ManySecured gateway. They gave a great overview of the traffic flows and threats, and now chunk-sized videos are available on the ManySecured website and the IoTSF's own YouTube channel. Let me be clear that there are many very capable security appliances in the market that do an excellent job of protecting networks, but typically they cost hundreds or thousands of dollars, euros, or pounds and require proficiency to set them up correctly. We're not targeting that high-end sector initially, although some of the advanced ManySecured features currently being developed will greatly improve these appliances where they're dealing with IoT networks. Initially, our target is to better protect the millions of homes, small businesses, and public spaces that neither have the awareness nor budget to configure bespoke perimeter security. Instead, they generally buy a service from an ISP based upon price, speed, strength of Wi-Fi, signal, and customer reviews. On the comparison website, it is extremely rare to see security mentioned. The routers provided by the ISPs are often free or low charge, with the cost being absorbed into a monthly service fee. If a contract lasts 12 months and the router costs, for example, $50, then that adds $4 to the monthly charge, which may make the offering actually uncompetitive. So there's going to be great pressure to ensure costs remain at the barest minimum, which likely rules out high performance features often found in high-end firewalls and gateways. Another constraint is that the router gateway needs to be considered as a complex endpoint in itself. It needs to be well engineered and maintained in order to remain secure, just like any other device. As reported by the Which Consumer Organization, there are millions of routers out there which lack these updates, have very weak publicly available passwords, and do not have clear points of contact for vulnerability disclosure. Fortunately, very familiar to or very similar to many other IoT devices. The box provides a picture from the help section of a major ISP's own website, and it provides the default username and passwords for its hub, with no encouragement to go and change either. Regrettably, this is common to most ISPs that we have looked at. Moving on to what needs to be done, like many safety and security engineering sectors, simply avoiding the mistakes that other people have already made gets you a long way to achieving a reasonably safe and secure system. Many of these lessons have been captured in the frameworks that we're going to cover later. However, it's not only a technical problem. Getting the whole market to prioritize security alongside cost and speed must be a major goal. Purchasers, consumers, ISPs and manufacturers all need to be brought into this, as well as test labs, regulators and other consumer organizations. One of our future steps is to enable the router or an adjacent device to be able to monitor and control the traffic on the network. For example, should your smart toaster really be communicating with your door locks? This is a major objective of the ManySecured project, which has been covered by Nick Allard's talks this year and last. The way we're going to tackle this is through a phased approach. The most urgent and biggest bang for the buck is to ensure that all routers and gateways meet a good level of cybersecurity hygiene. We're calling this the foundation level, and its aim is to weed out all the insecurities that are well known and repeated in just too many systems. We intend launching this scheme in the next few months. This will be followed by the advanced scheme, which will incorporate the richer security features of the ManySecured project for monitoring and controlling devices on the network. And that also enables more advanced AI and machine learning services to be provided by external providers. This is dependent upon the ManySecured project publishing stable schema, and so we're looking at around about 12 months from now. We could also envisage other flavors of certification, such as in health settings or critical national infrastructure. Paraphrasing Saab's message from last year that if it ain't secure, then it ain't smart, Shadi reminded me that one way of promoting adoption of more secure networks is to incorporate security requirements into the regulatory and certification requirements for safety critical devices. So emphasizing that a system needs to be secure in order to be safe. The scheme that we are proposing is to have 3 levels of certification. The first level is a declaration of conformity by an OEM with an appropriate evidence package signed off by a director. We see this as being attractive to premium router manufacturers who are already well engineering their products. The second party level would be typically be certified by an ISP working with their OEM suppliers to assess that the routers and gateways are sufficiently secure. Because of the volume of routers that the ISPs provide, this level may be the most productive to achieving a mass population of secure routers. The third level is independent certification by labs. So how we're going to approach this is largely by capturing the relevant existing recommendations from expert groups, including the Security Foundation. The pyramid is not exhaustive and other recommendations will be assessed. We'll also draw upon other technical and stakeholder experts to identify missing requirements for routers and gateways. Now, one of the major benefits we have is that a lot of work led by Trevor Hall has gone into the forthcoming IoTSF's Assurance Framework 3.0, which is a major update to the Compliance Framework 2.1 to ensure alignment with ETSI, ENISA and NIST standards. In fact, all 3 of those documents reference the Security Foundation's Compliance Framework as being a main source document. So we're coming full circle to provide greater alignment and to avoid unnecessary fragmentation. Also in the next few days, we expect our Compliance Framework 2.1 to be formally accepted into NIST's online informative references program against NIST 8295A. The beauty of our assurance framework is that it's very much a 3-in-1 offer that comes for free, in that using our framework will enable a supplier to ready themselves for formal and expensive conformance testing against both ETSI and or NIST standards. And remember, our framework will remain publicly available for free albeit the guidance worksheet tool will be free to members only. As mentioned on the previous slide, there is an abundance of IoT security frameworks. Although there is a lot of mutual cross-referencing, some are more useful than others as they have different perspectives, such as from a consumer, enterprise, manufacturer or service provider viewpoint. I'll skip through the following slides of some of the main references, but I've included them here just for reference should you wish to research them later. My big bugbear with ISO standards is that the cost. For example, ISO 2733 costs over €1,000 to have a look at all the sections. IEC 62443 is one of the most referenced standards for cybersecurity, but similar to 2733, its relevance to our initial use cases is limited because it is aimed at more complex and segregated networks. ITU recommendations, the X series and the Y series are quite useful. ITU X1361 is a really good match for what we're trying to achieve. ETSI 303645 is fast becoming the de facto standard for consumer IoT products, and plaudits to all of you in the audience who have contributed to its evolution via the Security Foundation's compliance framework over the last 5 years. Most of it is relevant to the certified scheme, with probably a few additions and deletions needed to make it relevant to routers and gateways. NISA have a really good toolbox for IoT devices, and the guidelines for securing the Internet of Things have been brought into our new Assurance Framework 3.0, thanks to the work led by Amias Phillips. The GSMA guidelines strikes a chord with our approach, and it's very relevant. As you would expect, the GSMA have taken on board the differences between traditional network security and that of mixed IoT traffic networks. Likewise, the OCF is also very relevant, and it's great to see that on the first proper page of their specification overview, they've stated that security is fundamental to all elements of their framework. OWASP's IoT project has created a sacrificial goat, a deliberately insecure open WRT instance to educate the community on IoT vulnerabilities, which is a good exemplar of how, for the most part, we don't need to do very clever things, but simply avoid failing with the same old errors. The Industry IoT Consortium, a bit like the IEC and ISO standards, is probably not as relevant to us because it deals with advanced segregated industrial networks. In conclusion, the certified foundation requirements will probably look very similar to the assurance framework, which means there will be a high degree of consistency with ETSI 303645, ENISA Secure Supply Chain, and the NIST 8259A. So again, it's 3-in-1 for free, and will incorporate the lessons learned from all the other standards as well and across the industry. The added value of the certified scheme is to make those IoT frameworks more applicable to routers and gateways, with the minimum of additions and deletions absolutely necessary. We will also be addressing the market constraints in order to maximize the uptake and impact of having a population of more secure routers out there. So finally, my call to you today is to get involved with the certified scheme. For a company with any ESG goals, its social responsibility value could be immense, and it will enable our industry to better deal with the threats to smart home, office and factories. Visit the ManySecured.net website or click through from the Security Foundation's website and contact us either via admin@ManySecured.net or me directly at ian.poyner@techworks.org.uk. A kick-off meeting will be held on 15th of November, and I would welcome all of you who wish to contribute. Many thanks for your time today. Thank you.